think that's how I start every video. Hi everybody. Did you miss me? If you're returning fancy, see, I'm so out of practice. If you are a returning Fancy Fiber family member, did you miss me? I've been gone a while, and I'll get into why that is here in a second. I want to welcome everybody today. If you're new to this video and this channel, everybody's new to this video, but if you're new to my channel, my name is Donna, and my channel is Fancy Fiber Forum. And this channel is all about yarn, love of yarn, things we can do with yarn, including crochet and knitting. So if you are a fan of any or all of those, you're in the right place. I try to give really down to earth, real world, insights on the fiber arts, at least the ones that I do, knitting and crochet. My videos are never scripted because I don't want to have to look down at a piece of paper, but I do have notes today because there's quite a bit to cover. So this may be a little long. This video may be a little long because I just want to catch everybody up on everything. Hopefully I don't miss anything or forget anything. So if you are new, I hope you'll consider joining my Fancy Fiber family. And I hope you like what you see today. Like I said, I have a lot to cover. And for all of you returning family members, I appreciate you watching each and every time. I appreciate comments. I just appreciate any engagement at all. And hopefully I can get through this video without any issues. Which leads me to why I have not been here in a while. And I can tell this is kind of what I've been dealing with is kind of affecting my voice. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So I took a break because I was starting to deal with a bout of acid reflux. I was diagnosed probably, I don't know, gosh, it's been a long time ago. I was still working, so it was pre-2019. I was having problems with aspirating, and that feeling you get, you know, after you aspirate, and you can't really get out a sentence without feeling the need to cough. And I worked in customer service at the time, and being on the phone, you know, that was a challenge. So I finally went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I did the swallow test and the whole thing. I was diagnosed with something that I had never heard of and haven't heard of since, and it's called silent reflux disease. And from what I understand, it's basically you have the reactions or symptoms of regular acid reflux, but you don't feel the burning in the throat. You don't feel any, you just don't have any of those regular feelings like most people do with any gastroesophageal issues, right? So I never feel it coming on. I you know, sometimes if I have like Italian food or something spicy too close to bedtime, I'll go, or barbecue, you know, and I go to bed and I'm sleeping on my right side, yeah, it'll come up. But I roll over on my left side and that resolves. But aside from that, I have no symptoms till this starts happening. So I thought I'm going to take a break And I'm going to do what the ear, nose, and throat doctor told me to do, which is eliminating things from my diet. Those things, and if you suffer from this too and you don't want to take medication or you want to get off medication, this is what I was told by a professional. You must eliminate tomato-based products like ketchup, tomato sauce, Italian food, anything with a tomato product in it, eliminate it. Chocolate, coffee, so caffeine, sugar. He may have said fried foods, I don't remember. Spicy food, which is my favorite. So eliminate all those things for about 2 weeks. That's what it's been for me, about 2 weeks, and your symptoms should resolve and you're back to normal. Also, do not eat less than 4 hours before bed. I think the older you get, you should increase that time to maybe 5 or 6 hours before bed, but at least no less than 4 hours before bed should you eat or even drink water. That's what he told me. Not even water. You want nothing on your stomach 4 hours or less before bed. That's what I was told. And that's what I've done. Short of some water, sometimes I'll have some water before bed. And this is taking its time going away. I've been eliminating this stuff from my diet probably for about the last week. No sugar or very little sugar. I maybe put like, I don't know, 1/4 of the amount of sugar in my tea. I'm not drinking coffee, so I'm putting about 1/4 of the amount I normally would in my tea. And I don't know that that's adding to it. Maybe it is. Maybe I need to just cut out sugar altogether. But I've noticed with at least cutting back on the sugar, my gut is happier. My gut's happier. So that's good. Chocolate, no chocolate at all. As a matter of fact, I have some chocolate tea. I don't want to drink it because I know it's got cacao in it. So I don't want to drink that. Pretty much anything else is okay, to eat. Maybe not drink lemonade or things like that are real acidic. So avoid acidic food, avoid caffeine, avoid sugar. Like I said, I don't remember if he said fried foods or not, but get rid of all that consistently for about 2 weeks and should be good to go. I feel like it is better, but I still have the occasional feeling I need to cough. And as you can tell, it's affected my voice. So anyway, I'm back to do this video because I have so much to share with you, and I was chomping at the bit to get something up. Sorry. So, my notes are over here, so I'm going to be looking over here. There's nowhere else for me to set them. All right. So some of you know that I've been knitting. As a matter of fact, I haven't picked up a crochet hook since the end of April. And today is May. I looked at the date before I even started this video. 28th? No. 26th? 26th, I think. May 26th. I haven't picked up a crochet hook since the end of April. I took a knitting class April 12th. And about a week and a half after that, we had our crochet group, and I went. And I remember taking a knit project and a crochet project. I worked on both that day, and that was like the last Sunday of April. I haven't picked up a crochet hook since then. I've been knitting every single day, almost all day long. So, you know, practice, practice, practice. And as a matter of fact, I have finished 2 items, and I'm going to show those to you. And then I have 3 active whips, one of which needs to be done by this Friday. And I think I'll get there probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'm hoping it'll be done, God willing, Wednesday or Thursday. So I have everything in this bag here next to me. So I'm going to show you and give you the best information I can about each item. So we'll start first with the very first item I finished. And this is called the Frida. Now I double checked before I started this video whether it says Frida headband or Frida ear warmer. It didn't say either. So it's one or the other. It's an ear warmer / headband. And Bernadine at How the Hook Turns has started one. She hasn't finished because she's so busy doing other stuff. And she's not in knitting mode right now. She's in crochet mode. And then my friend Yvonne, she's also made 2. Yvonne, comment below and say how many of these Fridas you've made. I think 2, maybe 3. I've only made 1. And here is mine. This was quite the learning experience. It isn't just, I mean, it's different because it's made with all double stockinette, which double stockinette, if you don't know, gives you 2 layers of fabric. It's not called double knitting, it's called double stockinette. So it took me probably 4 tries with different yarns and different needles to be able to get one finished. So if any of you out there want to make the Frida, it's a very simple pattern. It's very simple. All it is knit 1, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, slip 1 purlwise, knit 1, slip, just, you know, all the way across, and then the same thing back. Yeah, same thing back. And you just keep going until it's long enough, and then, you know, you stitch it together. I don't know if I did such a great job, but you stitch it together and you get the little twist looking thing. So this is going to be for one of my sisters. We're having our sisters meetup, our biannual sisters meetup in Des Moines, Iowa. And that's June 2nd through the 5th. So this will be for her. And I was so proud of myself that I finished this. If any of you are familiar with double stockinette, comment below. And the hardest part about this pattern is fixing mistakes. That's the hardest part, because because you're working in 2 layers, but you're working side to side. I guess you really have to understand the anatomy of stitches to figure out how to fix mistakes, because I've made plenty. But there it is, a little closer. And this was made with art yarns. I wonder if I've got one handy. I'm always doing this. I always do this. Bring up the yarn, and then I'm searching for it, and I'm not. Oh, there it is. Okay. This was made with art yarns Cashmere Eco. And you can see there, well, maybe you can't, my front facing camera doesn't focus very well. So fiber content is 50% virgin cashmere, 50% recycled cashmere. So it's 100% cashmere. And this is one of the yarns I got from my friend that sold me a bunch of bougie yarn about, 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago. Very soft, very soft. So my sister will be thrilled to have a cashmere ear warmer. Judy, if you're watching, there you go. So there's that. And then the next thing I finished, I got to tell the story about this one. My sisters and my friends are always sending me links to patterns or pictures of knit items, you know, what have you. Some of you may have similar experiences with your friends and family. But one of my sisters sent me this short, and that's all it was a short of a really fancy, I don't even want to call it a scrunchie because it's more than a scrunchie. It's more of a hair accessory. Really not, I mean, it's meant to go around like your bun, you know, just as a pretty accent to your bun in your hair. So she sent me this short, but there was no pattern for it. So I went looking, and apparently she made hers on a circular knitting machine, which I have one, but I believe she used the smaller one used for socks. I could be wrong, but if I were to try that, I would have to use waste yarn, and I'm not really good at doing anything with waste yarn. So I went and searched for a similar pattern, and I found one. And when I went to go look at it, it was all in Spanish. I have a picture right here of what it looks like. It's called a choo-choo or something like that. Chou, chou. It was all in Spanish. So somebody must have, somebody else, because the names aren't the same, must have kind of modified that pattern and written it in English with their own pictures. So I found that, and I wasn't sure about doing it in the round because the way that they closed it was kind of weird. So I thought I'm going to do it flat. So I started out doing this one flat, and then I ended up taking a chance and putting it on a set of circulars that really were the cable was too long at the time. So I ended up buying a smaller 16-inch circular to finish it. Boy, that made it so much easier. Anyway, this was kind of like my prototype because I didn't know really what she was going to want, how wide she wanted it. I just know how wide it looked in the video. So here's what I came up with. The seam is kind of fugly, but we'll ignore that. And this is made, excuse me, this is made holding 2 yarns together. One of them being Debbie Bliss Rialto lace in a cream color, extra fine merino wool superwash, and this was a lace weight. I held that double with some mohair And this was the result. So I'm going to show this to her when we go on our Des Moines trip, see what she thinks. I sent her a picture, so she may approve the picture. If she does, I may decide to start another one in the round. I just wish I knew a better way of seaming it up. That's kind of ugly. In the pattern, and I'll show a picture of the pattern that I followed. In the pattern, it uses three needles. So you finish with the needle that you already started, and you take another circular and you pick up the stitches from your cast on edge, and then somehow you incorporate a third needle. I don't know. So I guess in essence they're knitting the two edges together shut. And Joyce told me to look up the Kitchener stitch. I haven't done that yet, but I will. I'll look that up. I've heard things about Kitchener that make it sound intimidating, but from a fellow knitter friend, she's been knitting for a while. Anyway, I'll look that up, and I mean, if I could figure out how to knit it shut and it look nicer than stitching it shut, I could. This wouldn't take me that long. This took me, how long did this take me? I want to say this took me like 3 days. Of course, I didn't work on it all the time because I was working on this other thing that I'm getting ready to show you. But because I was working it flat, you know, it takes much longer than if you do it in the round, because in the round you're only working on one side. Flat, you're working on both sides. So I've got the needle that I need, and it's lovely. I'll talk about that too later. So it made working on this so much easier and faster. So there's that. Oh, and by the way, my sister wants 7 of these by June 19th. We'll see how that goes. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later as we get to my shopping experience. All right, so moving on to the whips. We have, and I didn't bring it in here, but I do have a picture. I started the liminal wrap, which is an Expression Fiber Arts pattern. Shandy was the designer, and it looks like a fairly easy pattern. And I can't remember what yarn I'm using. 3 different colors on that. I think I'm using 3 different colors on the liminal, and I think it was a free pattern when I downloaded it. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. It looks pretty easy. 18 rows, or 18, you start with 18 rows of garter, and then your garter works up the sides as you're doing the main body of the stitches, and then you finish with the garter. That way it doesn't roll. So I got that started. I haven't worked on that in a while because I'm working on, I may as well show you this next. I am working on this shawl, and it's called the Don Valley Butterfly. D-O-N Valley Butterfly. And it's unusual, and I had it all wrong. I did not watch through the entire tutorial because I assumed, you know what that does? I assumed that it was worked from point to point vertically. So you've got an increase edge, and then the top edge, I thought, stays the same. You do a slip knitwise, and then you knit the rest of the row. And then you've got the increase down here. That's what I thought. So I went back to watch the video because I knew I was getting close to that center point, and I needed to know the decrease part of it. There was no decrease because I had it all wrong. This thing is worked diagonally. So the increase is actually the top that goes around your shoulders. The increase is at the top. So how I thought it was going, this is how I thought it was going. I thought, see, so I added stripes going vertically because I thought it was vertical. And then there's the center. That's what I thought. Which means that it was going to be a really steep center point. Very steep. And I thought, that looks really strange. But okay, I'm going to trust the process. Wrong. It goes like this. Here's the increases at the top. And so it's not so steep because the increase is your longest edge. So it goes that way. And I knitted that eyelet row thinking that was going to be the center point. But I left it and I thought, it's still interesting. And I want to learn eyelet, so I left it. So thank you to Joyce and Gail for suggesting the eyelet because I really like it. I think it's interesting, even though it's not going to be symmetrical. I still think it's cool. So this widest part is where I decided I was halfway. So this section of green is the same as this section of green. And then I'm on this part here, and then I'll do this section of green the same width, and then another stripe, and then the final section of green, and it'll be done. So it's almost done. It's going to be quite large. It's going to be quite large. And I think it's still going to be cool. And this is actually going to be for one of my sisters. By the way, let me tell you what I'm using to knit that with. I am using, the green is Anzula Cricket, which is a DK, and this beautiful green. Oh my gosh. You guys, if you love soft, squishy yarn, look up Anzula. It's gorgeous. The Cricket is the 3-weight. The Ava is the 2-weight. I think they have a fingering weight, but I don't know what that is. But I have some of the DK and of the Ava. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. It is, fiber content is 80% superwash, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. This is some of the squishiest yarn. Even my son comments on how squishy this shawl is. I can hardly wait to give it to my sister. So I used that, and then the stripes, I used a Madeline Tosh DK. And I don't have the label anymore, but it's one of the planetary names, Pluto or something. I don't even know if it's available anymore, but that's what I used for the stripes. And it coordinates so nicely. That's the wrong side. Let me show you the right side. It looks better. It just coordinates so nicely. It's got greens and it's got a little bit of yellow and some blue and some beige. It's just gorgeous. It's so pretty. And I'm looking forward to finishing it and blocking it to see just how big it is. So, and I may reevaluate how far to go, because I've only got this much and maybe a little bit more of the green left. I mean, I've got this other, but I don't know if I want to break into that because I won't need all of it. So I may just finish what I have and measure it and see if it's going to be big enough. I have a feeling it will be. So I've got that. And then I had started this other one before that one, the same pattern. And this one is using some yarn, and I don't have the label with me, but this is yarn that I won from Lulu's Treasure Trove a while back. I got, I think, 6 balls of this, and it's a wool blend, and it's really pretty, and it works up very cool. And I'll eventually finish this, but it's just really a cool yarn because it's roving. So it's got some thicker, kind of slubby parts to it, and it's got some thinner parts to it. So the texture, it's got really cool texture, and the colors are, just really neat. So again, this is gonna be the top. So this is a really nice pattern to do while you're riding in a car. So I may work on that while I'm in the car for 3 hours going to Des Moines and 3 hours back. That'll probably be my project while I'm riding because it's so simple. All right. My next whip is a blanket, and it's actually going to be a throw size, and I don't have it in here with me because it's in a bag, but here's a picture, and it's called the Moss Landing blanket, and it has information for a bunch of different sizes. I think I'm doing the lapgan size. Here's the thing, and I don't have the pattern here in front of me, but the size I decided, it wasn't working. For some reason, the stitch count wasn't working. And I had gone into the video. The designer, as a matter of fact, is Kristen McDonald. And if you look up Moss Landing blanket on YouTube, you'll find it. And it took for me to look at the comments to find out that the pattern size that I was working on needed 1 extra stitch. And I want to say the lapgan called for 129 to cast on, and it should have been 130. I think that was right. It was off by 1. So I can't remember if I restarted it or whether I had fudged. And when I read that, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. That would have helped if I had and she hasn't corrected the pattern. At least last I looked, she hadn't corrected the pattern. So if you want to make that blanket, I would look at the comments and it was near the top, and find the comment. Would have been under my comment. So I commented as Donna Loves Yarn. Under that comment, you will see this one person comment with the same size saying it should be this stitch count cast on. So just keep that in mind. I can't speak to any other size. So just keep that in mind if you decide to make it. So that's my whips. And I'm just having a ball. I am having such a good time. But here's the problem. I want all the, see, I almost said hooks. I want all the needles. And, you know, just like crochet was a whole learning process for me, you know, what kind of yarn I am going to want to use, what kind of hooks do I want to use. I'm having the same experience with knitting, and everybody has their own, you know, types of needles that they like. Straight needles, circular needles, whatever, metal, wood, bamboo, whatever. But it's almost like you have to have all three or all different varieties. I don't want straight needles. I've already decided that everything is going to be, pretty much everything is going to be on circulars. But there's a place for metal, there's a place for wood, and it depends on your yarn. I learned that. I had picked up this yarn that was largely synthetic, and I started to cast on with a Knit Pro birch needle. Squeakiest thing on the side of this planet. So squeaky. I'm like, this isn't going to work. This yarn has to be used with a metal needle. Absolutely. So, you know, it's a lot of learning. But, you know, once you learn it, it makes sense. So, in my opinion, anything that's going to have like some grab to it, or anything that's, you know, maybe this was actually a blown yarn, but it was largely synthetic that I got from Temu. Anything like that is probably going to be better used with a metal needle. And maybe a lot of you use metal needles for everything, but as a beginner, wood can be helpful. At least for me. And so I'm learning a lot about that. And yeah, just, oh my gosh, having a ball. Just having a ball. There's so many things I wanna make and cast on. I want to make a blanket. I would love to make a blanket. I don't want to crochet a blanket. Absolutely not. But I'm loving knitting so much. I think I could knit a blanket, like with a worsted weight yarn or even a 5-weight yarn. But, you know, all my 5 weights are really bougie yarn. So I have a whole bunch of the KNC Superwash DK, and that would be a great way to use up probably all of it, is to make a big blanket, all in garter stitch. Just make a big blanket. How much fun would that be? That would be so much fun. That would be just a hoot. I would love that. And so eventually I want to do that. I don't know how long it would take me. If I could get one done by this coming winter, probably not. But my son's birthday's in November. I would love to be able to knit him a blanket. That would be really, really neat. Next thing on my to-do list is called the Pink Panther shawl. Scarf. Shawl or scarf. It's a paid pattern, but I paid for it. I think it's paid. I think it is. But I recently found these 2 gals on YouTube, and I believe the whole channel name is called Table 10. I'll probably, tag them in the description. Table 10. They are just the coolest pair of sisters. Awesome. I love watching them. I wish you guys would make more videos more often. because it's been a bit since you've made one, and I really enjoy watching them a lot. And that's where I got the Pink Panther pattern from, because she said it was easy. Both of them haven't been knitting very long, but they're knitting garments. Oh my gosh, they're on fire knitting so much stuff and so quickly. But they're both just cute as can be. So anyway, that is I was going to talk about my goals. So that's part of my goals. I also want to make socks. And here's the first hurdle. What needles? What needles do I use? You've got 9-inch circulars, which I've heard people say, oh my gosh, that's hard to do. We've got DPNs. I've heard some say, oh my gosh, I don't want to use those. And then we've got the magic loop. Same thing. Some say, I don't want to do that. So everybody has their preference. How do I decide? How am I going to know? I don't want to invest in, I've already got the DPNs. Thank you, Bernadine. Do I want to invest in a 9-inch circular? Or do I want to go to my local yarn store and see if they would let me borrow one and see if I could work with that? Personally, I think that that's what I would like better. But because those needles are so little, you have nothing to rest your hand on. And I've noticed that when I'm knitting, I rest my hand right here on the needle. But do I really need to do that? Or can I knit without having to put my hand on? I'm guessing that's why people don't like them, because they're so little and so short. So I may do that. The magic loop makes no sense to me, but I was sent a link for a video and I may watch that. I will probably watch that. And as I've said on my channel before, different creators present different things different ways. And sometimes it takes a while for you to find that certain creator to teach that certain thing you want to learn for you to get it. Right? They don't all teach it the same way. I mean, like for instance, Magic Circle for crochet. There's so many different ways to teach it. And you just have to find that right person to teach it the way you understand it. So I think the same thing is going to happen for me with Magic Loop. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that would be great if I could understand it, because I've got lots of needles for making socks, and they're fixed needles. So it would have enough cable on it to do the magic loop. I don't know. That's on the agenda to watch that video. But for now, I just want to knit flat. I want to knit shawls. I want to knit blankets. And then who knows? Eventually, I'll work my way up to, I don't know. I don't know if I want to knit a garment, because right now a lot of the things that I watch don't make any sense. So I have a lot to learn before tackling that. And, you know, knit garments look so much nicer to me than crochet ones. Crochet is a lot easier to crochet a garment. It's much easier and faster. I don't really care about the speed. I just want to learn it, but I don't know if I can learn it. And I have a tremor that sometimes gets in the way. So, we've talked about goals. We've talked about whips and FOs. Let's talk about notions. So as I said, I was working that scrunchie with a needle with way too long a cord. So, I was fighting the stitches on the cord to push it over and all this mess. And I thought, to heck with this. The pattern says I need a 16-inch needle, so I'm going to order me a darn 16-inch needle. And I did. And when I took my knitting class, I got 2 balls of yarn, and I got a ChowGoo lace set of knitting needles, circular, 6mm. And I was so impressed because I've heard everybody talk about ChowGoo, including my friend Jeanette. She loves ChowGoo. She's got an interchangeable set that I think her husband got her. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to get through this. I get excited, I think, and I start to want to cough. So I knew that I liked that needle. So I went on to Amazon and I searched for 16-inch circular, and I found a ChowGoo set for, I believe it was less than $12. So here we go. This is a 4.5mm, I do believe. It's hard to read. Yeah, it's 4.5mm. And I finished that scrunchie with this, and oh my gosh, game changer. Seriously. I mean, I was already using a metal needle on it from Addie. This set that I got from as a trade from my friend Nancy, who I got all that bougie yarn from. So I took everything off of that needle and put it on this, and I finished it up so fast. I can't wait to cast on another one with this needle. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. The tips are nice and pointy. So, that yarn I was using was held double, and that mohair was kind of fuzzy. So this kind of sometimes wanted to split that fuzz, go between the fibers on the very outer part. But it was fine. It was fine. These are wonderful. And then as I was shopping for these, I found a 4mm with, it's a 40-inch. I think this also was under $12. So I don't know what I'll use it for, but I really like the idea of a fixed circular, because you don't have to worry about things coming undone. You don't have to worry about getting that little pin out to tighten your connection, all that jazz. So I'm so happy to have those. And I think over the next weeks, months, years to come, I will be adding to my collection of ChowGoo. Maybe someday I'll get the interchangeable kit like my friend Jeanette has. I don't know. We'll see. But I love that. And I had ordered a set of Knit Pro needles. It was the Symphony. Because no, it wasn't this one. It was the set of needles that I got at that estate sale in that big pouch. There was one that looked similar but different than the other ones. For one thing, it actually had the size marked on the needle. Was it on the metal? I don't remember if it was on the metal or not. But it's a 5 or 5.5 millimeter. It is considerably sharper than the Knit Picks set that was the majority of that set in that pouch. And the colors were a little bit different. It had some more pink in it than the Knit Picks did. And I think Knit Picks is just Knit Pro with their name slapped on it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. Well, Knit Pro has a lot of different types. They have Dreams. They have Symphony. They have what others? I don't know what others. So now I'm assuming that these might be the Dreams, which was my very first knitting needle. I'm getting warm. That was my very first knitting needle, straight needle that I bought at Knitcraft, which is my local yarn store. I don't know where those needles are, by the way. They'll turn up one day. It's warm in here. I should probably turn the fan on. It's pretty warm. Anyway, so I don't know what that needle is, but it wasn't the Symphony that I bought. So those came, I ordered them on Amazon, but they came from Germany. So in lieu of having to return them, I decided I'll put them on Marketplace and see if I'll just sell them. What do you know? They sold. I met this gal. Actually, it was, what day was that? A few days ago, I was going out to my granddaughter's 9th birthday party, and she was coming from the south, I was coming from the north. So we decided to meet halfway or near where I was going. What happened to be just down the street. I've only been to my daughter's like, this was like my 4th time. So I'm still learning the area because they just moved there like a year ago. So, excuse me. So she was just down the street where we met so I could give her that set. And so that got sold. She's a new knitter. Now we're friends on Facebook. And yeah, we just stood there and talked knitting for a little while. So that was nice. That was really nice. And then I went to my granddaughter's birthday party and had a nice time and avoided the cupcake and all this stuff. So anyway, all that to say, that Symphony was not what I wanted. It wasn't. It was the same. It had the same same tip as the ones I already have. So why keep it? I already have those sizes. I don't need another set. So the search is on for a wooden set, a birch set that has a pointier tip. And I know they wear over time, but this one is really nice. This 5 millimeter is really nice. And it's glossier, so the lamination is better than the Knit Picks ones. So 2 differences. Well, 3, because it's got the size on it. The Knit Picks ones are not marked, so I have to use that tool every time I want to know what size it is. Anyway, so that's my adventure with notions. I don't think there's anything else to talk about when it comes to notions. But I can't tell you guys enough how much I am loving knitting. And yeah, it's wonderful. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I'll ever pick up a crochet hook again. Confessions of a new knitter. I don't know that I'll ever crochet again. And I've got projects that need to be finished, but right now I just want to knit. So, Bernadine, I know what you mean when you get in you get stuck and, well, not stuck, but all you want to do is crochet right now. Well, all I want to do is knit, and it's been that way for the last month and a half. So, well, not a month and a half, about a month. Yeah, about a month. So, more crafts to use this beautiful yarn with, right? Let's see, is there anything? Oh yeah. Okay, so the last thing. I made a trip to my local yarn store, Knitcraft. I've talked about this store many times. And I say it again, if you live in or near Independence, Missouri, check out Knitcraft. It is a wonderful store. Wonderful store. So I went over there because I had made a mistake in that shawl. And I didn't know how to fix it. When I tried to fix it, I just made it worse. I ended up frogging back 2 rows on the edge. I didn't know how to fix it. So I kept it safe where it wouldn't get any worse. And I went over to Knitcraft, and Angelica, who owns the store, is like 2 stores in one. There's Knitcraft, and then there's Angelica's. And she was there, and she didn't help me fix it. She fixed it. And I think she was kind of even a little stumped because she said, "Oh, this doesn't look right." I'm like, as long as the stitch count is right, I don't care. If there's one little mistake, it's not going to be noticeable. And it's really not. Unless you know it's there, you're not going to see it. It's on the edge. It's not a big deal. I said, as long as I can continue, I don't care. And the stitch count matches up from the stitches below, I don't care. So away I went, stitching. So I sat there for maybe 30 minutes working on it. And then I started talking to Lori about these scrunchies I need to make. And they sell these tabletop knitting machines, very fancy. They start at like $450. I don't have room for one of those, nor do I have the money for one of those. So she walks over there and she starts getting things set up. She says, how many cast on? I told her. And she starts cranking out this piece of fabric, with the knitting machine, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And let's see, I brought it in here. She cranked out this piece. I've already got the hair tie in there. And I started, did I start knitting it? Yeah, I started knitting it shut. And that's really about the width, I think, that my sister wants. That white one, I don't know if it's wide enough, but that's about the width that she wants for this scrunchie. So, it's gonna look like that. Excuse me. But this ponytail holder is, I think it's too tight. So if I end up finishing stitching this up, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to my daughter or try to sell it at market. I don't know. But this was just, she just cranked out this piece for me. And then she said, well, no, I said, how much would you charge me to let me use this machine? Huge learning curve, by the way, to make all 7 of these scrunchies. I said, I'd bring my own yarn. She said, you can come use it. She said, if you don't want to come here, you can come out to my house. I have one at my house. So we'll see how the timing goes, because like I said, I'm going to Des Moines next Monday. And then I'll be getting back on the 8th, and then, no, the 5th. And then on the 9th, I start dog sitting for a week. So there's a period of time I won't be able to go. I won't be available to go to Knitcraft to work on those. So if I can finish this shawl sooner than later, I can possibly go out there on Friday. Friday of this week. I'm sorry if this is bothering you guys. I just want to get through with this. Go out there Friday and stitch up as many as I can. I still want to make one by hand with that new 16-inch circular. So I'm going to do that hopefully on Friday. And, you know, if all goes well, I can sell them to her on Monday, and that'll be off my plate. That'll be great. If I get that off my plate, and then I can come home and concentrate on things I want to knit for myself. Like those two, the wrap and the blanket I've got going that I haven't worked on for forever. I've only been doing this a month. So I haven't picked up those projects in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, we talked about that. So I was so grateful to Lori for extending her generosity in sharing that machine for free. I thought I'm going to return the favor and show my thanks by buying some yarn. Because she has the Anzula Ava that she gives to me, sells me at a great price. And I'm going to eventually buy it all till it's gone. So a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. So I picked up another Madam. And I picked up another Hippo. This is just a gray. Tonal. These are all tonal. And Blueberry, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful blue. And I don't really have any neutrals. Oh, I got 2 hippos. Did I get 2 hippos? Oh, no, that's okay. So then I picked up 2 au naturels because I really don't have any neutrals. I don't think I have any of this. And then this is Gravity, another lighter gray. So she's still got quite a bit left. Quite a bit. And I just want it all. I just can't get it all at once. So then I'm looking around, and you know, I'm just looking at sale stuff. And on Angelica's side, she has this silk hair lasso from Lana Grassa. And she has a bunch of different colors, but I wanted to pick something that was kind of neutral. But this is gorgeous. It's like a copper color. Beautiful. And it is 78% mohair, 14% silk, 4% polyester. So I'm guessing the polyester is the sparkly bits. Can you see the sparkle? It's much brighter in person, or deeper. It's deeper in person. It's really a true copper. The color is color 922. And it calls for a 3.5 to 4 needle. 25 grams. 210 meters. I want more of this. I really want more of this in different colors. She has beautiful red. So that was my shopping trip to Knitcraft. And I had a $10 off reward. So it was $10 less than, or yeah. Oh, I got more than that. Because I had a $10 off reward, this why I added to it. I just saw a hair. Anyway, she's got a very small display of Malabrigo Makita, which if you know me, you know I love single ply. And this is their sport weight Makita, 100 grams, 420 yards. And this is in color Illusion. That's beautiful. Purples and greens and olives. It's just beautiful. And when I knew I had the reward, I said, I want a second one. So I got two. And later this month, I have to go back because she had this thing where you have the calendar of May, and if you check off that you worked on your project every day the month of May, you bring in that paper with all the days checked off, and number one, you get $5 off your purchase, and you're entered to win a set of either crochet hooks or knitting needles. So I'll be submitting that at the end of this month before I go to Des Moines. Maybe I'll win a set of knitting needles, but I'll get $5 off, and maybe I'll get a third one of this. So there's that. Stay there. So I think that's all I have for today. I will relinquish you guys of listening to me cough. Clearly, I need more time to get this under control. In the meantime, I'm going to knit my brains out. This is really difficult. Whew. Okay. I think that's all I had for today. So thanks for sticking around this long if you did. I apologize for the coughing. I'm not really good at editing where I can edit out parts where I was coughing. I'm not good at that. I haven't figured it out. And I do all my editing on my phone. So what you see is what you get. I'm really sorry if it annoyed you, because it annoys me and I got to live with it every day. So with all of that out of the way, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Comment below with any kind of knitting stuff. Any tips? If you knit socks, do you like circulars? Do you like DPNs? Do you like the magic loop? And tell me why. And we'll see where I land on that. But I've bought a sock pattern that's supposedly pretty simple. It has what they call a kite heel, and it's supposed to be pretty beginner friendly. So I think Bernadine and I have decided to start that pattern together. That way if I have questions, I can ask her. Anybody else want to join? Joyce, you want to join? Gail, you want to join? Anybody else want to join? It is a paid pattern. And I'll see if I can link that in the description. So if you are interested in that sock, it's called the Geever Tin, I think it's the Geever Tin Mine socks. So just Google Geever Tin Mine socks. That'll take you to her website. Her channel, she is the Cornish knitter. I like watching her. She knits and crochets, I believe. So I'd love to make those socks because she said the heel is easy. I don't think I can do a gusset. At least not now. But the kite heel is basically shaped like this. So it's increases and decreases. I could do that, I think. So we'll see. Anybody want to join us? But that is on the plan to start on my birthday, which is June 27th. That way I can remember I started those socks on my birthday and I finished them a year later. I don't know. Hopefully with Bernadine helping me, I can get through it and we'll have a beautiful pair of socks. We shall see. All right. I'm going to let you guys go finally. Thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. And I think I'm going to give this a little bit longer. So it may be another week or so before I check in again. May do a short here and there because I'm okay doing shorts. I don't feel like I got a cough if I only talk for a minute or so. Anyway, I'm going to scoot out of here and go get to work on my shawl because this has got to be done by Friday, if not sooner. So I will be working on that today and every day till it's done. And then I have to block it. So I'll be sharing that, I know, when it's finished. And till then, have a great week coming up. God bless each and every one of you. Remember, God loves you. Jesus loves you. I love you. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now. See ya.